Alrighty. Thanks everybody for joining. My name is Peter Gubernat. I own Peter Gubernat Photography and a couple of other wedding brands. And I am, just like many of you, going through, this COVID thing with a whole bunch of uncertainty. Originally I thought that it was just going to be kind of like early March clients that would postpone and then we would get through this and everything would be fine. But now I'm seeing my June clients are postponing, my July clients are postponing. So this is getting bigger and taking longer than I think what everybody anticipated. So how do we as business owners kind of survive what's coming our way? And I've been doing quite a bit of research on all of this, and there's a couple things that we can kind of talk about in regards to getting immediate relief, at least what the government is calling immediate. I don't know how immediate it's going to be because there's some kind of misinformation out there, and nobody really has all the information at this point. So the first thing I want to talk about is the CARES Act that passed. The CARES Act is law, and there's no actual like CARES loan. What the CARES Act is doing, it's providing a couple different lending options, one of which is the Paycheck Protection Program, or it's called the PPL or the PPP, whatever you want to call it. And everybody is eligible for this. As long as you own your business, you can be a sole proprietor, you can be an S Corp, you can be an LLC, and you can also be an independent contractor. This is a big deal because a lot of us are independent contractors. So those who employ people, like Ben Mahoney, I know you have a huge staff of people. Some of them are 1099, some of them are W-2, just like mine. All of those people can individually go out and get the paycheck protection. And the way you do that is you contact your business lender, meaning you don't go through the SBA, you don't go through the website, you call your bank. So for example, my business bank is Chase. And they're going to be on the approved list to hand out this loan. So contact Chase, contact your business rep over there and ask them to get the process started for the paycheck protection. Again, if you're an independent contractor, sole proprietor, if you own a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, it doesn't matter. You're eligible for those. The other thing you should also immediately do is just hook up with your local Chamber of Commerce. I should have said this first, but connect with your Chamber of Commerce. If you're in Chicago, in the burbs, every town, every city, every locality has a Chamber of Commerce. Connect with them. They will keep you up to date on all the information. Okay, so what's the big deal with the paycheck protection thing? So it's really, really great that it's coming our way. When it's coming, we don't know. I called my bank this morning and Chase said they're still waiting on direction from the SBA and the government. So they don't know when these forms will be available, but I was told by Wednesday or Thursday possibly. So as soon as those hit, contact your banks, even contact them tomorrow. It doesn't matter. The sooner you get the ball rolling, the better. But they will give you money to cover payroll, rent, your commercial rent, healthcare expenses for your employees, all that. The way you take care of your employees now, you will do the same. So contact your bank. Again, go through your bank. Don't go through the SBA because they will just direct you to your bank. This is through private lenders. Let's see, some of the other information. So who's not eligible for this? Employee owners who make over $100,000 a year or have made $100,000 or more last year in payroll. This is for everybody that makes less than 100,000. Let's see some of the other information. There's talk about forgiveness. The way that this will be calculated is if you maintain your payroll for the next 8 weeks, that's covered, that loan will be 100% forgiven. So you will not have to pay that back. But again, You have to maintain your payroll. You have to maintain your rent. All the business expenses that you would otherwise have if COVID wasn't here, you have to maintain them. And then you can apply through your bank for the loan forgiveness. Now, this is different than the $10,000 advance that everybody's talking about. I'm sure everybody has heard that, right? That is different. That is through the SBA and the chamber, I'm sorry, not the chamber, but through the U.S. Small Business Administration. And that is part of your economic injury disaster loan program, which is very different than the PPL, which is the payroll protection program. So how do you get to the $10,000 advance? Well, step one, and I'm actually going to share my screen here. Hopefully this will help. Let's see, can I share my screen? I think I can. Here we go. All right, does everybody see this? Please message in chat if you don't see this, but you should see a big thing on the screen that says disaster assistant. And the way to get to this page is you go to disasterloan.sba.gov, and it will redirect you to this page. Click apply for assistance. Click on economic injury disaster loans, and it'll take you down here. Now, this area talks about the $10,000 advance. They're calling it, some people are calling it a grant, some people are calling it a loan. It's kind of a mixture of both. What this is designed to do, this $10,000 is supposed to be ready within 3 days of filling out this application that we're going to click here in a minute and fill that out. That's supposed to be ready within 3 days. When I was on the phone with the SBA this morning, they didn't seem like those funds would be ready within 3 days because they're still kind of playing catch up to this law. The way the guy described it on the phone is he said they're building the plane while they're flying it. So some documents are saying that they'll be ready within 3 days of filling out this application, but I filled out my application yesterday and it's not even in their system yet. So I don't think the 3 day thing is going to be a reality, but it's good to get this process started. So again, this $10,000 advance will be 100% forgivable, means you won't have to pay it back if you use it for payroll, rent, and all the other things that you would pay if COVID wasn't here. Okay, so you can't use it for a vacation. You can't necessarily use it for if you're trying to buy some new equipment or something like that. It has to go directly towards payroll. So what will happen is you won't have to pay that $10,000 back. And it won't matter if you are approved or denied for the EIDL loan, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, right? So it doesn't matter if you get approved or not. If you get denied, you still don't have to pay that money back, that advance. If you get approved, they're going to deduct that $10,000 from the money that you would owe based on the sum that they come up with for this loan. So how do I apply for this $10,000 even if I don't want the loan? So you have to apply for the loan, but you don't have to take the loan if you're approved, right? Because that's another question that I've seen. Like, do I have to take this loan if I'm approved? No, you don't. So what you want to click is up here, and it takes you to this new application. So what I did a week and a half ago is I actually filled out the old application because this website is brand new as of yesterday. So I filled out the old application, I sent it in the old way, and I've been checking up on my loan that way. But here, this is the brand new one. So you fill this out, and this is way, way easier than the old application. So you fill out whatever applies to you, right? I would do that one, and then you kind of check all of these. Please read through these. Don't just check them like I'm doing. I've already done this twice, so please read through them. And obviously click whichever one here applies to your business. I don't think any of us really employ more than 500 people, do we? I don't. So it would be this one. Going here, you put in all your business information. It's pretty, you should have all this pretty handy. This is pretty easy. Then you go to the business owner information. So they are going to pull your credit for this application. Originally, when I applied, everybody was getting denied who had a credit score of 600 or less. They've since lowered that credit score to 400. So if you're 400 and above, my understanding is you will get approved. Again, this can change within the next couple days, but that's what I think will happen. Once you fill out the business information, I'm not obviously going to fill all this out to get to the next step. You'll fill out the business info. There's an additional information area right here that you get to. And in there, there's a checkbox that says, I would like to be applied, or I would like to be considered for the $10,000 advance. Make sure that you check that. Once it's checked, once you submit it, they're going to give you a summary and a application number. So what I thought was really interesting is that they don't actually send you a confirmation over email. So please take a screenshot of that application number, because you'll need that when you start calling in about your application. Right now, I heard that the SBA and the phone lines are so overwhelmed that they're not really like responding to people over email or anything like that. You have to call in to check the status. And if you don't, they're not going to reach out to you unless A, they need more information, B, if you've been accepted, or if you've been denied. Those are the only ways that they're going to get in contact with you. Otherwise, they're not going to give you like an update on the status. They're just too busy. When I called this morning, I was on the phone for 2.5 hours waiting to talk to somebody. So there's thousands of people. And I remember actually I laughed when they told me what the queue was. I was caller number 1,170 something. And you know, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. So get this filled out as soon as you can. Everybody should do this. Doesn't matter if you're an LLC, an S Corp, a sole proprietor, or a contractor. Fill this out just to have it ready, because we don't know how long this is going to take. Everything is changing so quickly and so fast that people might start getting approved tomorrow. People might start getting approved in 3 weeks. So use everything that you can to kind of keep your business afloat, because I personally do think this is going to last through July, possibly even longer. And you just never know. You don't want to be in June and filling out this application then. Like, get it done now. That way you're at least kind of ready for what's coming. So let me go back one more. So again, this is the URL, disasterloan.sba.gov. It'll take you here. Click on apply for assistance, click economic injury, and then click this big button right here. And it'll take you to the application. This literally will take you 5 minutes to fill out. I think everybody who's on this call who owns a business should fill this out by the end of the day. Let's see. The other thing we talked about was the Paycheck Protection Program. So does anybody have any questions at this point about anything? I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to link all of this to wherever I post this, or you know, wherever this goes. So who has questions? Let's see. Yep, they are open on Sundays. Jackie, you're saying that you already filled it out. Did you fill out the new one or the old one? I filled out an old one originally, which didn't have a checkbox for the $10,000 advance. So I think like you, I filled out the old one. And that's the number that's in the system. I did go in and fill out a new one just to be sure. And the guy that I talked to at the SBA on the phone today said that they're working on merging them together. So if you filled out 2 or 3 or whatever, they should be able to merge those together. But it can't hurt to fill out another one. I mean, it takes 5 minutes. Ben, are you sure that if over the 100K, that's what I'm reading on the Senate document, Ben. That, let me find it. And Ben, I'll send you this as well. So the question here is in this PDF from the Senate, Ben, what costs are not eligible for payroll? Employee owner compensation over $100,000. So my understanding is that that would not go towards anything that's over 100,000. No, that's different. The $1,200 check, that's straight to individuals. That has nothing to do with businesses or anything like that. That's a separate part of the CARES Act. Joanna, are you filing for unemployment as well? No, we are not. We were thinking about it, but I want to see where we can go with these loans first before filing for unemployment. That is a good question, Anthony. Where business activity? I just put in, what was it like? It was like creative services or some kind of services, and I marked it down under, there was graphic design, and that's as close as I could get it to photography. For event planning, I don't know. Yeah. I haven't seen anything for event planning in there as well. So yeah, just put, like Ben says, just put whatever is the closest. At the end of the day, I really don't think it matters, because once your case is assigned to a caseworker, they will reach out to you and they will personally discuss with you, you know, your payroll history and kind of what your business is and what your needs are. There is the way that my understanding is of how this will get calculated is they're going to look at your payroll from 2019 and excuse me, and take an average of what your employees made and how much money you actually need. So if you have, you know, if you have payroll of $10,000 a month, they're going to hopefully give you enough to meet that based on your averages. Yeah, it's like Ben said, it's not a super critical question just because they'll reach out to you. Let's see, going through some of the other questions. Yeah, so that's kind of all I really have at this point. But it's, you know, the trouble is that the information is changing day by day. Like right now, Chase doesn't have any information on these payroll loans. And hopefully they will by like Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll call again and I can give everybody else an update. But it's certainly scary and very uncertain at this point. But if you have employees, if you're a sole proprietor, if you're a, you know, contractor, it really doesn't matter who you are. If you're in any kind of business, start looking at these, connect with your Chamber of Commerce, just to get the ball rolling on these. Yes, Jackie, that should apply to you as well. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it matters if you don't have a per se payroll. They'll just look at the amount of money that you've paid out over X amount of time and give your business enough money to do that for the next 8 weeks. And again, that's with the payroll protection program. The EIDL, the EIDL is very, very different from that. It's an actual loan that you will have to pay back minus the $10,000 advance once that comes. Yeah, everybody talk to Ben about the Chicago loan program. I'm not based in Chicago, so I haven't really been looking into that, but the Catalyst Fund will probably operate in a similar way. I know there's already an application out there somewhere, and I bet you Ben can share that with everybody, and you guys can kind of go from there. But again, I'm not from Chicago. I don't live there. So my business isn't incorporated there, so I kind of haven't been looking into that. So again, the kind of three main things: connect with your Chamber of Commerce, look at the payroll protection loan, and the forgiveness around that, so you don't have to pay that back. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to mention about the payment protection, the paycheck protection loan, is that in order for that to be forgiven, you have to keep your payroll going during this process. My understanding is that if you stop, you will somehow have to pay back some of that, but not necessarily all of it. So they're doing that so that you keep your payroll going, and you have to do that during this time. With the SBA loan, the disaster loan, it's completely different. Like, that will not be forgiven. I believe there's around a 4% cap on that, so it's not like this crazy percentage that you would get from a bank when you're taking out an SBA loan. So it should be much friendlier to this time. But again, they can give you anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000, depending on the size of your business. They're even making loans as big as, $5 million for these big businesses. Who else has any questions? Awesome. Well, thanks for hopping on. And if I have any updates tomorrow, I'll do this again, and I'll post this on Facebook and link some of these documents that I've found. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Peter. Great day. Thank you, and stay well, everybody.